little vid. Um, Racism, America, and the gun community. I'm black. Everybody knows I'm black. I got other videos where I'm doing gun reviews, or actually, I got some I haven't even posted. But I've been frequenting Mr. Coleon Noir's site for quite a while, and there's this noise that's continuously been going on as it pertains to guns and black people in the background, like a pink elephant, like a big giant pink elephant. Mr. Coleon Noir has addressed some of it in terms of the bigotry and the racism that people like to sit up there and openly deny when they're on his page, at least. But I frequent the internet. I mean, you can go on YouTube right now. We're all on the same site. You can go on there and look at the comments in the comments section. Whenever there's black on white crime, as people want to say it. They want to put it in the box of it being a racial crime as opposed to it being an economic crime. Poor people rob rich people. That's the way it goes. So if you have black people who are disproportionately living in poverty, you're going to have a disproportionate amount of crime. That's both interracially and intra-racially. The biggest victims, or the largest group of victims when it comes to crime, in the, being committed by black people is other black people. Same with white people. People commit crimes where they live. And when you look at the disparity between blacks and whites and, like what happened in the Short Hills Mall, New Jersey, where the guys from Newark tried to rob the white guy who was a lawyer for his Escalade. Yeah, you're obviously going to have situations where crime spills out of, an urban environment. And I do have a problem with people who think that those people are just somehow going to accept their lot in life, just simply be poor and behave as though they have resources when they don't have resources. People who have resources can behave the way that they do because they have the resources to behave the way that they do. But with all the intellectual dishonesty that floats around on the internet, people want to sit up there and they want to pretend as though the economics has no plays no part in it. Has no part of it. And I don't like to get into the arguments of people who want to point to personal responsibility, because at the end of the day, all that is trying to reduce the situation down to, once again, getting people to accept their lot in life, accept being poor, accept not having, accept, the social injustice and the economic injustice that goes on in this country and has gone on and has created a lot of the situations that go on in, America. And that's why, particularly when black crime spills on the white people, frankly, I don't care. Okay, because I'm like, that situation was created. It was created, and when it spills, I'm like, hey, it's been spilling on black people all the time. When it spills on us, people just go, oh, black on black crime. But when it spills on white people, oh, it's a hate crime. Where's Al Sharpton? Where's Jesse Jackson? Like, it's just intellectual dishonesty all the way. As it pertains to Mr. Coleon Noir, I often say that I wonder, what would have happened had George Zimmerman ran up on Mr. Coleon Noir with his Glock 19. Right? They're the same people who will go on, Huffington Post, who will go on Daily Caller, who will go on, what other site is there? Who will go on, even YouTube and write racist comments. A lot of those people, are right there in the culture of the far right. They're right there in the culture of the gun culture. and they're right there in the culture of racism and bigotry towards black people. It's all together. Now, you know, I support those people who want to separate and say, hey, we're not about that. We're not this and that. But I'm saying, y'all have been in bed so long with each other, that the stench from one group does uh, um, spread to the others, you know? People can sit there and say, well, I don't walk like a duck or quack like a duck, so I'm not a duck, but I'm like, you smell like a duck. Okay? And it just seems to me like you have a lot of people who, you know, they have their views that linger in the background. But the only reason Mr. Coleon Noir gets a pass is because he supports their agenda. And I particularly don't even like when he gets into the whole politics and all that stuff. It's like, you're you're pro-gun. That's what the focus is. There's nothing that needs to be political about guns. There's nothing political about it. But yet, when things go into, Obama or the conservatives versus the Democrats, which I was Democratic for or a Democrat for a very long time, but I don't agree when it comes to guns. I'm like, that has absolutely nothing to do with the social politics. Has absolutely nothing to do with it. And I don't know why in this country it's like if you're blue, you got to be anti-gun. If you're red, you got to be pro-gun. I don't get that. If you're red, you got to be pro-life. If you're blue, you got to be pro-choice. I don't get that. If you're blue, you got to be pro-welfare. If you're red, you got to be personal responsibility. The stupid thing is half the people that are running around screaming personal responsibility are either on welfare or on some type of government assistance or don't have a pot to piss in and are constantly voting against their economic interests when you got Mitt Romney sitting up there with $250 million and telling the poor white people that, hey, those black people on welfare are somehow draining the system, right? And so they're sitting there in their little shack in Kentucky, with their Xanax and Percocet and prescription drugs and whatnot, riding around in Appalachia in a truck that's about to die, talking about, personal responsibility because they feel that their whiteness is somehow a security blanket that makes them feel just that much better than the Negras. At least I ain't black. At least I ain't a nigger. Right? They rolling around like that, ain't got a pot to piss in. Been duped by the white elites to believe that they are somehow in a better position or, the vanguards of America. This is America. This is America. And they have all these ideas, you know what I mean? You know what they remind me of? They remind me of the kid that's the biggest fan of like a particular team, like and like he sits the bench. He never gets to play. He doesn't even realize he's constantly being disrespected. Never gets to go out on the field, but he's like the mascot of the team and will, try to champion his team against, everybody else and talk about how awesome the team is. It's like, dude, you don't even play. They don't even let you on the field. And I'm like, go out there and try to get on the field and see what happens when you try to get on the field of your own team that you support. Go ahead and try to get on the field, and you'll see just how much they don't give a shit about you. So I watch Mr. Coleon Noir's videos, and it's just funny watching these people that any other time, it's like, same type of mentality in terms of black people. Right. And then Mr. Coleon Noir, they get that token Negro to stand up there and say a whole bunch of things that, that they believe and they support, and they want to, he becomes like the acceptable Negro. He becomes, the black person that's like this, this mascot for how all black people should behave. But nobody wants to factor in. It's like Mr. Corleone Noir, went to law school, right? Has supportive family, obviously, right? Well-rounded person, right? That comes from the environment that he was brought up in, which had resources. But that's not how, these same people will view other black people. And the other black people that they're comparing to are black people who didn't have the same opportunities or didn't have the same resources. And they'll, try to act like, it's the issue is behavioral modification and not the economics and the environment that one is brought up in, which is based on economics. Because let's face it, you can't live in a decent area if you don't have a decent income, if you're not making decent money, right? And nobody wants to factor in all of the social factors generationally from, the 1930s all the way up till, the 1990s. It's like the comedian C.K. Lewis. What did he say? He was like, black people don't want to fuck with time machines. Anything before 1980, no thank you. Right? But then people want to act like what happened back then has no implications on what goes on today.